So how are you guys doing today? Out here working on the 2006 Kawasaki Ninja 650, and I'm still kind of going over this bike, kind of going over some things I want to change on it, getting ready to get started for the first day of actually working on it. Haven't done anything to the bike yet, and kind of don't know where to start on this bike, so I'm just going to probably jump in on something. But a couple things I want to point out about it. One is the tank. I know the tank is going to need work. You can see that there's body filler in this tank, so I'm sure there's a dent here. Don't know how big it is. Looks like it's right here on this curve. I do want the tank to look nice. Whoops, sorry, just bumped my head. I do want the tank to look nice, because that's going to be like the main thing that you see on this bike. It's going to be something that stands out and draws attention. So I want to try to get this tank as straight as possible, and hopefully not have to buy a new tank. So that's where we're at on that. But like I said, I want to work on this today, and I'm going to probably try a technique on making this molding. Like I said, I want to make a fiberglass piece of molding that kind of goes in here, and I want it to run just above this line and have an equal gap from like right here all the way back, to where the seat ties in right here. So I just want to try to see what I can do, and hopefully it comes out and I can make it look like a piece of molding there, even though it's not really molding, and it'll just come off when you take the tank off. So that's kind of what I want to work on today. We'll see how much we can get done. I'll try a new process that I've never tried before on making this molding, and that is using foam fill. I'm not going to do the whole thing in foam fill and just leave it as that. I'm going to just use the foam fill to build up the design of what I want, and then I'm going to fiberglass over it, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep it from cracking or breaking. This tank is not great anyhow, so we're gonna give that a shot and see if we can make that work. Alright, this is what I did to prep the bike. I just used some of this metal tape to kind of just give me some ideas of where I don't really want a lot of this to go. I did use some metal tape here because I want to bring this down some. I've got the tank sitting back on the mount, so I know, and I marked the edge of the frame here with where the metal tape is, so I kind of know where I want to get this stuff to, and then just kind of wrap the bike in some protected stuff, because that's just less mess to clean up, the better. So we're going to try this out. I'm probably not going to video doing it because I need both hands and to kind of focus on what I'm doing. So we'll be back in a minute. Give this a shot. Alright, this might be the first and last time I use this stuff, because I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but this is terrible. I don't know if it was the brand that I used. I used this Red Devil fill foam, but man, it went on horrible, and I was trying to squeeze it as slow as possible, and it just, it created a huge mess. So this might be just pulled back off and not used, but we'll see how it feels. Like I said, I just want to use it as a base, and I'm just trying to push it around here and fill some of the holes and see if it will bond together. Just use it as a base. So most of this is coming back off, going to be sanded off, but hopefully it will just fill the holes. This was the first side I did, and like I said, just fill the holes and give a base for the fiberglass to hold on to, so it's not just big thick fiberglass or bodywork. And you know, I've seen people use this and they say how easy it is and how great it is. Yeah, I think they must be owners of the company that sells this crap. But I probably won't do it again. Trying to fill this little hole here. Well, I guess I'll get it with the fiberglass. But glad I covered the bike because it this big glob is coming off. Yeah, glad I covered the bike. I'm gonna spray some more in here. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. I don't know if it's the angle I had the bike or the first can. I bought 2 cans of this stuff, and the first can just was like blowing out and wouldn't stick to anything, and then the second can seemed to work better. So I'm wondering if the first can was old or bad or something. I don't know, but we'll see how it looks when this dries. Back in a little bit. All right, guys. This is what I'm left with. The foam is hard. It did harden up pretty good. I mean, it's, you know, a little soft where you can push on it and it kind of, you can feel the softness. But I did a couple practice cuts here with just a blade that I use for a saw, and it seemed to, you know, it cut through it pretty well. You see some air pockets, but I'm not really concerned about that. I just want a form is basically what I want. So I'm going to use this to cut it, and we'll see if we can get it close to a shape and then see how well it sands. Okay, here's kind of the rough cut down. It's just trimmed all the big bulky parts off of it. So getting it down to a little bit of the shape. Like I said, I still have a ways to go. I'm going to just do a rough cut down right here, and then I might see how easily it sands. And if it sands super easy, I'll just sand from here. There's still quite a bit that needs to be cut out of this middle section here, but it's getting there. So far, you know, still up in the air if this is a good way to do some filling in body work, but we'll see. I mean, it seems to be fairly strong. It is definitely soft, like you can push in on it and it's pretty soft, but like I said, it's going to be covered in fiberglass. So it's just kind of a back filler. So, and when I cover it in fiberglass, I'm going to wrap under the tank, so it's not like it will just chip off and fall off. The fiberglass will still be completely encapsulating this. So we'll see how it works. All right, guys, here's it's coming along. It's sanded down. Pretty much got the shape I want. Some broke out right here, but I think it'll be okay. We'll see what we can figure out there. But I just need to get a little bit higher edge here because I want it to sit up just a little bit off the frame, because I want to be able to see this whole roll of the frame once it's done. So I need to cut up a little bit more height there, because when we wrap the fiberglass around, it's going to take up some space too. So I need it a little bit higher just to form it up. But I think it's coming along how I want it. It's pretty hard underneath here against the frame. So yeah, it's coming along. We'll see how it works. Okay, I hope you can see okay on this side. I got this shape down a little bit more. What I did to get this groove that I wanted at the top, I just used a paint stick with a piece of 80 grit sandpaper and went along this edge. Knocked most of it down. I'll continue cleaning it up. There's a couple holes. I don't know if these holes will really affect it. I still need to trim this down just a little bit more. But I got most of it how I wanted it, and like I said, I just want to make this look like a piece of molding here, and don't want to spend the $150 at what it is to get the molding. And I wanted to try this technique. All right, so I added a little bit more to a couple of the holes here. So waiting for that to dry, I just cut into it a little bit, and then did the same thing over here. On this side, there was a little hole there, this hole up here. Try to get it filled in there as much as I can. So we've got the initial shape down, so we just have to fill those holes, and then we'll be ready to start some fiberglassing now. Hopefully this doesn't melt this stuff, and we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, I put my first coat of fiberglass on. I'm gonna let this harden up overnight. Then I'm gonna trim the bottom section off, and then I'm gonna try to wrap the next layer. I'll probably do 2 layers because this fiber that I have is super thick. I don't know the grade off the top of my head, but so I'm gonna trim that off at the bottom, and then I'm gonna put another layer on and try to loop it up underneath to make that even stronger. Do the back side of it, and then do another whole layer along the top, and that should be enough to seal this and make it strong enough. And then we'll sand it down, do any final little body work we need to do to it, and see how this looks. Haven't done the other side. I wanted to let this dry overnight and see how it looks first before tearing it on the other side, just in case I have some reaction with this foam. I only have to peel one side off instead of 2. So I'm gonna just let this dry overnight, cure up, and like I said, then we'll trim it down and do another layer, or maybe even 2. We'll see how it looks. But hopefully this will work out all right. I think it will look okay, and we'll probably paint that a different color than the tank to give it an effect that it is a piece of trim instead of an actual piece of fiberglass that's now mounted to the tank. So we'll see what we can come up with. Alright, here's how I wanted it to look. This is just rough right now. I just cut out the lower part of the fiberglass. I still need to finish it and probably put another layer underneath. I'm going to put another layer kind of wrapped around to seal off the bottom, and then we'll sand it down and get it all laid on there how I wanted it. But this is kind of what I wanted, was some kind of transition where it would have, I don't know, just make the tank look better. I think it's going to work. So we'll just have to probably trim it down a little more down here at the bottom, a little trimming on it, and some sanding, and like I said, another layer most likely. Alright guys, so here is where we're at on the tank. We've got the fiberglass. I got 2 layers of fiberglass here, and I've got the real thick fiberglass mat, so I can't remember the thickness, but it's pretty thick. But what I'm going to do is shave down the spray foam on this side, on the inside, and then I'm going to lay a layer of the fiberglass mat down. You can see a little bit better on this side, down on this side of the tank, and wrap it around, do one more layer of the fiberglass. But it seems to be holding pretty well. So I'm just going to trim it down to smooth this out some, this foam, and then just wrap another layer around, because I want to, have it really sealed and have it really strong. And I don't want it to look like this when you take off the tank. But happy with the way it's come out so far. It's pretty much what I wanted. Just so I think it came out pretty well so far. So I'm gonna just clean this foam up and put another layer of fiberglass on it. It's pretty chilly out here today in the garage, so gonna have to do this quick, so hopefully it can set up before it gets real cold tonight. Alright guys, so here's the tank, and I've got the 3 layers on the outside and 1 wrapping under, and it's pretty strong. I'm happy with this so far. There's going to be some cleaning up that I need to do, but I think it came out really well, and it actually shaped the shape that I wanted, and it's not very wavy, so it's going to be very little body work or filler that needs to go in here. I'm not super concerned with the texture that this is, because I'm thinking about spraying this section with like a bed liner or something that'll give it a little bit of a textured look to it anyhow, to try to kind of imitate what the molding would look like. But I'm not real sure on that yet, so we're not too concerned about it. Next, what I'm going to do is flip the tank over. I'm going to try to remove this Pro Grip that's on here, and then we're going to start getting ready to strip this tank down. I can see that there's some body filler in this part of the tank here, so I'm sure we got a pretty good sized dent probably there, that we're going to have to pop out, or see what we can do with it, see how we can work it out. I don't want real thick body filler in there. If it's just a real thin layer, I'll just knock it out, redo the body work, and start prepping the tank. Unfortunately, here in Virginia, we've gotten a really cold streak going on, and so there's no way I can paint or do anything right now. Anyhow, so I'm just going to prep it all up and hopefully get it ready for a day when it's nice. I don't even have the paint for this yet. I'm still a little unsure of the color that I'm going to go with on it, but you know, we'll get to that point later on. But as long as I can get this body work done, get the tank squared away, and then move on to other things on the bike. I did get some parts in, and I'll probably test fit those parts, make sure they're what I'm looking for, do that kind of quick, so if it's not, I can return them and get credit back. So let's see what else we can get into in this.